Hey, it's Tuesday, and it's time for another episode of Shooting the Shiznit. That's right. This is episode 22, coming live from STS Studios in St. Louis, Missouri, on the Wrestling Riot Network. That's right. Just a couple reminders. Remember, Cool Kids Countdown is now bi-weekly. We won't see it this week, but we'll see it next week. I just want to invite you to go back and listen to episode 20 and 21. Both episodes together got more downloads than any episode except for the Kerry Morris episodes. Both really good episodes. And I want to thank everyone again. This is a record month. We're finishing up this episode, and then later on this week, I will be announcing on my Twitter how much we actually increased this month, and also in the Facebook group. Now, the Facebook group is a secret group. You do a search of Cool Kids Wrestling and MMA Talk. You then ask to join, and we'll let you join. It's not for the kiddos, and we're usually not PC. My Twitter account is at comicbookmark. BT. Also, go to www.stspod.club. On there, we have the T-shirt of the month. My PayPal.com account is Brian_Tramel at yahoo.com. We also have the Amazon Music Unlimited, and the Patreon site is on www.stspod.club. T-shirt of the month club is going to get a revamp after this month. You guys, if you want the delete shirt, the Return of Kayfabe, you need to buy it before the end of this month. So I'm going to give you until Wednesday at midnight, and then that shirt will not be available anymore. If you want it, you need to get it now. I want to do a shout out to Jamie Ward. Jamie's kind of like a behind the scenes guy on this podcast. But he gives me reviews in the sense that every episode he listens to, he sends me a little inbox and says, this is what I thought about him. I do appreciate that, Jamie. And also a shout out to my other podcast bros, Suplex City Limits, Creative Control. You can get the John Bullied Me for Creative Control shirt. Also, Locals to Legends Wrestling Radio with Gene Jackson. Hey, guys, let's just get on with the new episode. Hey everyone, I want to welcome David Bixenspan there to Shooting the Shiznit. How's it going, David?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Oh, I'm doing good. David has that laid-back voice. He's going to be doing 70s 70s disco later, or a Motown later tonight on 96.5 AM. But he's going to join us to talk about the wrestling business. But first and foremost, I like to let you get all your stuff in before we get started. So I want you to plug what you're doing now. And so that we can plug it first instead of me at the end go, oh, I forgot for him to plug it, and it makes it easier on me. So tell us where we can get you on Twitter, Facebook, whatever you're doing. You tell us.
Okay, Twitter is at David Dix. That's at David, then B as in boy, I, X as in X-ray, as I always say it on the phone. I have to spell my name. Main gig right now, wrestling-wise, is I'm doing the weekly wrestling columns at deadspin.com, which is the sports site under what's now the Gizmodo Media brand. It was formerly Gawker Media before all that stuff happened last year. And podcast-wise, Between the Sheets at betweenthesheetspod.com, and where all your favorite podcasts are available. Myself and our buddy Chris Zellner, going through a week in wrestling history as it was covered in the good old dirt sheets. This week we ended up doing 1999, which you can probably figure out what that was about if you remember the dates well, because with O&R and everything. And the show is way too long, but it's a lot of fun. And then also we have a Patreon page for the show where people can get some extra content and stuff, and that's patreon.com/betweensheets.
Awesome. That's I got some heat coming out of believe it or not, you get heat in podcasting. because we had 10 things. We did a podcast on the 10 things we hate, the Cool Kids Countdown a couple weeks ago, and it's not that I can't listen to long podcasts. And that's the reason I do a 30-minute one. I can't. I'm 22 minutes. I'm like, oh, I'm tired of listening to these dudes, and then I come back and which brought some of the guys that do the long podcast. I think they just thought we were going after them. My main things was some of the guys like Tom Pritchard and Tony Schiavone who tell us every detail of what was going on during. I'm surprised Schiavone don't tell us what soda he was drinking during that time, And it brought some heat somewhere and here and there. It's just kind of silly, but it also is one of the big podcasts this year, and has been really popular. And it is long, but I am a fan of, especially not all of it because I don't listen to all of it, but I'm a real big fan of my old buddy Tom Robinson over there at 605, and can sit and listen to him and Brian, as pretty much as long as I could listen to anyone else just laughing. But you were part of the origin story of the 605 podcast. So was it you and Brian just came up with the idea?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then what happened? No, in the end, was just that the show requires a lot more post-production than Between the Sheets does, because even though Between the Sheets is oftentimes longer than 605, it's pretty much live paced. I mean, we take breaks and then we, edit those together, so we can put the timestamps down, because if there weren't timestamps, it would be tricky because it's so long.
Right.
And that's all it was. That's all it was, really. I mean, and then just I had so much to do at that point that just like yeah. So it's
I know. I do. Yeah, I do a 30-minute one, and I spend maybe the 30 minutes of doing the recording, and then I spend at least an hour to hour and 15 minutes doing post production, because I want to put the music in. I want to do this. I want to re-listen to it, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy, Brian is spending God amount of time doing this podcast. And just not something that I would want to do. And like I said, I can't listen to. I pick people's podcasts apart. I'll listen to this, then I'll fast forward and so forth. I actually almost made an appearance on that show with Chris one time, and then canceled it, and he never got back to me. So I no-showed him, and then he said I can't use him anymore because BT no-showed.
No, you know what it is? Sometimes with the guests, we try to find like a good topic week for them. Because I think with you, I think it was some kind of Memphis thing. I may be wrong.
Right.
And then, so we've just been trying to find the right week.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah, that's got to, you relive some of the older stuff there. That's, and even the stuff that was, the USWA stuff, and after Hart left and it just started going downhill, I have all kinds of opinions about all that, so that would be fun to do. But I did bring you on here just to talk about podcasts and 605. We just make sure that I knew you was part of that, and that's it's really growing. Like I said, Tom is my favorite part on the show, and me and you and Brian had a good time when I was on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
But I got you on here because we're gonna talk about the business of the business and what's going on right now, and in your opinion, what you think is going on and what it really means. I'm a business major. Graduated from college with a degree in business, so it's kind of, I'm a mark for the business part of the business. When I did a website that was just in the Memphis area, I would put the gates up because I would count the people times how much the ticket was, and that made the promoters piss the promoters off because they were lying to the talent, or they were lying to themselves, I guess. But that's what I really like seeing, the trends that's going on, what's going on. The biggest thing that's happened kind of in the last few weeks, and this will air the Tuesday after a week from, I haven't watched SmackDown. We're actually recording this on a Tuesday night. I haven't watched SmackDown, but we have a new champion in Jinder Mahal. And in your opinion, is Jinder Mahal going to change the ratings? Is he going to make people want to watch SmackDown? That was really a hot topic in the Cool Kids there. A lot of people in our Cool Kids group can't stand Jinder. Myself, I'm not having any problems with him. My deal is to sit back and look at the ratings and see if it means anything.
I don't think ratings in the States are going to go up unless there's just some fascination with, oh, why did they do this? Like maybe, the show that aired tonight that, we're recording this, might have done better because of actually the curiosity factor. Everything that we're hearing is that the move is because of the Indian market, that they see India as their big player right now. There are a few potential issues with that. And, I was talking to my roommate about it earlier. Starters, I'm trying to remember. I didn't see it as relayed to me. I think it might have been Alan Cunahan, Alan Florell, indie color commentator in Europe and Figure 4 Weekly contributor, who mentioned that, they keep talking about being Punjabi and all that, and that's a fairly small fraction of the population in India. It's like 30 million out of a billion. So that's one thing. And then the other big reason they're doing this, or at least one of the reasons they say they're doing it, is because a lot of their followers on Twitter and I guess other social media are from India. How do they know those aren't bots? If you buy bots, they're usually in India. So that seems like a concern that I'm surprised hasn't really come up yet.
I seen the WWE shop for India today, and they didn't have one shirt of Jinder Mahal, which I thought was kind of weird. I would have pushed.
I'm surprised.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I would.
I'm
I think I would have went the other
something
way.
Up for pre-order. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do, but I think I would have went the other way. I think I would have went babyface with Jinder if I was going to push him. And I know we had a babyface champion, but man, the guys that's with him, they're really talented, and they haven't used them the way I would have used them. And Jinder is a big guy. Vince always has loved the big man. He's not a great worker, but I really have no problem with his work. That I thought him and Orton put out, it wasn't 5 stars or anything, but I thought it was a fun, well put together match. And so I'm not like a lot of the smart fans who just shit on everything and shit on him. But I would have went in the direction of the babyface, and pretty much, Dixie and them did that, pushing the Indian star who was god awful. But that was been the direction. But it's interesting. It's real interesting because it has, it's something to do with the business. I mean, this Jinder Mahal could affect what's going on in India, either in a negative or a positive way. I don't know if the fans will even give a care in India whether he's a babyface or heel, but I may be wrong.
Well, the promos he's cutting are designed to be babyface promos in India. That's the thing. If you pay attention to the way his interviews are going, and then you look at, on tonight's SmackDown, they had the big celebration. They play the celebration completely straight. So in India, it's not going to play as like, oh, it's this parody of it. So to me, it's intriguing to see just how much they can kind of stay in the middle like that, where they do something where he plays as, braggadocious heel in the West, and then in India, he's the big babyface hero. And will this even matter? Is the reason the Khali got over because he's native and not someone of Indian heritage who grew up somewhere else, like
right.
Mahal is? And the thing is, you gotta remember, while my understanding is it's not, big ticket sales, because the way everything is in India, for the most part, like especially cricket, is the admission is free, but they're sponsorships. Khali was drawing huge crowds when he promotes shows. So I mean, theoretically, the idea that WWE could do real well in India is not ridiculous at all in terms of something like that. But I don't know if this is the case.
So tell me, see, I've had we talk about TV ratings sometimes in the group there, and we have people that say, TV ratings don't mean shit, blah blah blah. We've had some of the worst ratings this year, and I don't know if we're going to see the upside again of the TV ratings. And I don't know if people understand TV ratings in the sense that when it gets time to renew these contracts, these huge contracts that they have for the TV shows, when it gets time to renew them, is the network going to look at, hey, you had the lowest ratings ever? Does ratings still mean something there? What's your opinion on that?
It's all relative. Yes, obviously, what the ratings mean in the grand scheme of things is what they're going to get when the contract's up and they negotiate the rights fees. So, what's the best way for me to put this? Week to week doesn't matter. It's all relative to, look, they're usually still one of the top shows on cable, if not the top show on cable. In terms of how things are on cable, and especially USA, they're doing fine, if not more than fine.
So you're right about that. If you look at
right,
first rating, yeah.
Go ahead. I'm curious to hear what you were going to say.
If you look at the worst rating that they had, they're still number 2 and sometimes number 1 because everything's kind of losing its television. Everyone says live TV is not something that unless it's really really important people are watching. I haven't had live television in 5 years, I think. So I watch everything on Hulu or Netflix, and just that's the way I watch TV and there's going to be more and more people do that. If the contracts are here's something to think about. We always talk about the network number, and how they're probably making as much money now as they would have on the network as they would have been making on pay-per-views with the decrease and so forth. Do you think there's ever a chance that down the road that the TV ratings that the cable companies won't pay for something like that, and Vince just says, hey, I'm going to put it on the network?
That they would cut it to the degree where he would just say screw it and go on the network?
Right. Would they? It would be this show,
I'm going to say no, because it would just, you have to have something to advertise the network with. B, it would have to be an awfully big cut for that to be even, something that could remotely make sense.
Right. Yeah, I don't see it, and some of the stuff that they're producing for the network is maybe the reason why we're not seeing huge numbers. No one seems to be watching 205 Live. Then you have a production. You have a show like NXT that some people are not watching NXT, but takeover shows are some of the best wrestling available. And then we get they're watching it on the network, the NXT thing, the pay-per-view, or what you want to call it these days. So why, in your opinion, why is indie wrestling so hot right now? Why is all these promotions being able to draw? I had Prazak from Shimmer on last Tuesday, and we talked about Shimmer and we talked about AAW. AAW has, been drawing a regular 300 in some buildings, but some buildings, 600, 700, and they're bringing in maybe, which his explanation is something I believe in, but is it because the talent is so much better now on the indie circuit, or are people just tired of do you think they're tired of WWE and the main, TNA and so forth?
I think it's a lot of things. I absolutely think that the level of talent now is part of it. that we're at a point now where you can go to an indie show just about anywhere, unless it's like a real hole-in-the-wall indie. You're probably going to get at least a pretty good show. And you can even, I mean, could you even really say that 5 years ago? You had some of your bigger indies that would have reliable top-to-bottom shows, and when I say big, I don't just mean like the, super indie type indies. I don't just mean ROH and that type of thing. I mean, why am I forgetting his name all of a sudden? Unless I hadn't think of Greg Price. I couldn't remember if I was thinking of Greg Price or someone else, but who was it that had been running Carolina Championship Wrestling or whatever? That was Greg, right? Years ago.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the guys that do WrestleCade now, aside from like the bigger indies in each, region, it was more hit or miss. Now, I think it's much more likely that you go to an indie show, you'll get a pretty good show. It's just the level of talent is just so much. I mean, there's so many. You can watch like one of the main indies, and you won't even see a lot of guys who are still coming up and starting to get chances somewhere. Like, I mean, one guy from up here in the Northeast, David Starr. He only just started working for Evolve, I want to say, last month. And he's a guy that's been getting a lot of indie bookings well. Now, there are other reasons for that people might guess as to why someone might get a lot of bookings. Nothing suspicious or anything like that. I don't want to say it just because I don't remember who told me in confidence or not. But no, think about what someone can do for themselves that can get them places. That does not involve anything illicit or terrible. It's easy to figure out, I think, especially if they're going across the country, wink, wink, to different shows. Right. What was I saying? No, but anyway, I think the show quality is absolutely part of it. I think looking for an alternative for some people is part of it, or just looking for more wrestling, even if they are enjoying WWE. And there was one that you mentioned, and now I can't remember what it was. Or was it one that I was thinking of? I don't remember now. Were those the only two? It's like, we're recording
I think it's. I'm with you. And I'm excited about it. And
social media. Social media. That's what it is.
You're right with that. I mean, it's so out there with all the promotions that. I mean, I've got Twitter, so I look at all these indie promotions. And I'm thinking to myself, this show is just as good as. I'd love to see this show more than I would, the pay-per-view, and I think that's where it's coming from, because WWE isn't giving what I still consider like the hardcore fan what they really want to see. And I moved to St. Louis last year, and I've been fortunate enough to be part of watching Glory Pro start with Michael Elgin and that promotion. He's brought in Pentagon, or ever what you want to call him today. And he's bringing in, all these, he brought in Matt Riddle, but Mike's bringing in, 4 or 5 big names, indie names, and then, some of his students who are going to be, it's almost like you got these guys who are going to be, they're going to go to bigger things, and they got to have the understudies ready. And that's what they're doing. And then when those guys go where, to WWE or whatever, then we're going to have another class of guys that within 5 years we're going to keep on talking about those guys, and hopefully we can keep it. And like you said, social media, you look at a team like Young Bucks, who probably sells more, merch most of the time than they do, than they get paid. But that's the kind of thing that one of the last things I want to talk about is how what I call the super fan. It seems like we have those fans that are, and myself included. I'm going to tell you, because I didn't hardly ever have a wrestling shirt. I can't tell you I never bought wrestling shirts, but for the last, I guess, 2 or 3 years, I've got 12 or 13 in my. And I don't know why. It's just, I don't know if it's because I like the guys a lot and I think I'm supporting them because they're indie guys. But there's that super fan buying all that stuff and supporting, WWE's numbers and merch are the highest they've ever been coming out of that shop.
I'm trying to figure. Wait, so I'm trying to wait. Is there a question in there?
No, I'm just making a point. No, I'm just
track.
rattling
Okay,
on. You just.
Yeah. So I think a huge part of it is that it shows that you're supporting the guy. And now I think with places like Pro Wrestling Tees, like Fully Gimmicked, there are others that I'm forgetting, where that you're buying pretty much directly from the wrestlers or close enough to it. I think that definitely makes a difference. I think that there's just a lot more variety, and honestly, a lot of them look better now because you have so much more stuff going on. Like, look at some of those Young Bucks shirts. I mean, if you're into the Young Bucks, a lot of those shirts are a lot more attractive than other wrestling shirts. Like, let me see if I can pull it up for a second. Hopefully it doesn't take too much time. But, like, I remember they had this one. It was like DuckTales themed. I don't remember what the...
they have all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it's such a... Yeah. And the thing about it is they're not strapped down... they're not strapped down about what they can design and what they can do. So that's I think that makes it wide open for them too. That they could get a hot shirt, or there's that fan of, say, the Young Bucks that buys everything. I've seen some fan on Twitter that said, "Okay, this is my 30th shirt," or something like that. I'm probably exaggerating, but it does give them the opportunity to do. I'm excited about to see what Hot Topic does for those guys, and
that story is fascinating to me.
Oh, me too. Yeah, very much so, because it's totally different in the market. Well, you didn't expect somebody like Hot Topic to say, "Okay, we're going to do wrestling shirts and we're going to do indie wrestling shirts. We're not going to do, you can go in Hot Topic and get shirts of almost anything." But it's exciting to me. Some people didn't understand how much. I mean, that's part of the Young Bucks that, if that works out for them, that's something that may eventually keep them from being in the WWE, in the sense that they'll still make more money outside the WWE than they would inside of it, with less travel and everything.
Yeah, because also you got to remember, this is on top of their ROH money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is completely separate. And also, if you know about Pro Wrestling Tees, the amount of shirts you're able to offer is pretty much directly proportionate to how well your stuff's selling. Because otherwise you don't want to have to do the mock-ups and stuff. And they have right now, let's see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They have, good God, I stopped counting the rows. They probably have close to 80 shirts, 75 or 80 shirts or something.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. So that tells you the popularity of them. And I know they, being a worker, you always hear, workers work, just put it that way. And you hear a lot of bullshit when it comes to numbers, but I've heard them say something like, on the special sales days, they're like number 2 behind Stone Cold. Stone Cold's selling X amount of shirts, and which is still crazy that he sells so much stuff, but they're right behind him. So that kind of shows you their popularity. Hey, unfortunately, we're running out of time. I enjoyed it. I wanted to bring somebody on that we don't usually do current business, and here we'll talk about anything. But I just wanted to bring somebody on that and give opinions of whether I'm my mind's going in the right direction of what the business is going into. I'm excited for some reason. I like the business a lot right now, mainly because of the opportunity of watching anything I want to watch, from the 1970s Memphis wrestling to I'm watching New Japan as it's happening if I want to get up at 2 a.m. in the morning. And so me being a fan since 78, it's fun. It's fun to be a fan. It's fun to cover it and talk to the people that's around it.
Yeah. So next time I come on, though, let's not talk about current wrestling.
All right, you got it. A deal. We'll talk. Yeah. And you guys, sit down. You have a guest, like me, come on and help you guys. Your ratings will go way up, and the downloads will be unbelievable. So if you ever need me over there, just let me know.
We will. We'll talk off air about that.
All right. Hey, we just want to thank Dave for coming on again. A great time to just sit down and talk about wrestling. Wrestling's at kind of a peak when it comes to indie wrestling, and wrestling's also a WWE, New Japan, and everyone's making more money than they did the year before, which is a good sign. The ratings are something that always scares people because they're so low, but it is fun to talk to someone that writes on a regular basis about current wrestling. So, hey guys, y'all join us next Tuesday for a new episode of Shooting the Shiznit, the best little podcast in the business.
It's Memorial Day. It's time to get out of town and get on the water. This summer, gear up for the fish, the food, and the family. Cabela's Memorial Day sale. Family events, amazing deals. Your one stop before the campfire. Save $200 on Champion Patriot generators and $100 on select kayaks. Plus, get Cabela's adult and youth deluxe flotation vests for only $9.99 and $20 in Cabela's bucks when purchasing Chaco sandals. Shop in-store and online at Cabela's.com.
Staples knows that when your spreadsheets no longer spread, it's time. When your presentations are not presentable, it's time. And when tensions in the office are high...
No, tensions are very, very high.
It's definitely time. And it's times like these when pros turn to Staples. Staples has a full range of tech services to help your business with everything from data recovery to virus protection. And right now, get $50 off PC diagnostic and repair service, so your business won't miss a beat. Staples, it's pro time. Ends 5/20.